What's up, boys? Personal Jesus here. Today I want to tell you guys about what I believe is the best Delirium farming build in a game. It's the fastest, it's the strongest. Will die sometimes, but it doesn't really matter. If it is fast, you shouldn't be dying in the first place. Now, if you guys have seen my previous videos, this is an update to my old video. I have optimized my build. It has a lot more damage, it has a lot more survivability, and a lot more utility. So you guys should really take a note and look at my new POBs. I have updated all my POBs. I have a low-end version, mid-end version, and late-game version. All my builds have insane base damage, so even if you're not relying on poison, you'll still have good mob clear. Now, if you guys haven't seen my videos yet, I'll tell you how the build works. So effectively, what this build does is it utilizes this Poison Sextant. What a Poison Sextant does is it increases all your damage done by 12,000%. So for each poison stack on you, you deal plus 12% damage. Now, because they have an item such as Golden Rule, which allows you to have 100 poison stacks, you can stack up to 100 poison stacks and increase your damage dealt up to 12,000%. Now, 12,000% sounds kinda OP, doesn't it? But that's not it. You also have plus 6% movement speed for every single poison on you, stacking up to 600 poison stacks. 600 movement speed, actually. Which makes you a speedy boy. You can clear maps in less than a minute if you really want to. Maps like Toxic Sewer, maps like the Dunes can be cleared extremely fast, and because of this move speed, and because of how fast the build clears by itself. Now, I want to show you guys how the build works and what items you should be using. I'll show you the low-end version first. I don't think it's appropriate for me to show you the end-game version because it costs many mirrors. So I'll show you guys a low-end version and a midway version. Now, you should be able to farm those versions relatively fast. I'd say the low-end version shouldn't take you more than a couple of days because it doesn't really rely on any expensive uniques. As you can see, a baseline for this build, for a low-end build, is almost a billion DPS just from the main chest. Now, you also have the Cosplays, which also add you a bunch of damage, which adds up effectively to about 1.5 million DPS on a tabular build. For your items, you should be using 2 cosplays. If you can't afford 2 cosplays, that's fine. 1 is more than enough. If you have a single cosplay, you should be able to farm T16 maps without any problems. Yes, you'll be dying sometimes, but that's how assassin builds are. If you don't have enough damage, and you don't have enough evasion, you'll be dying sometimes. That's just how it is. Until you get a bit more gear, you'll be dying sometimes, but you'll still be able to clear any map you want, and still be able to progress the Atlas. Now, the main item you want to have in the build, if you're going to be playing the Poison Sextant, is a Morph Conquest. Morph Conquest makes it so you are unaffected by poison. Being affected by poison means that you don't take any damage from poison, but you do still have poison stacks. Now, it's really important for you to have, because then all of your stacks of poison still are on you, so you get all the benefit of damage and benefit of movement speed, but you don't take the damage from the poison. If you want to play a CI version, you won't have to have this helmet, so you can have different choices of helmets. Personally, I don't really like CI because it's extremely expensive, so I prefer to use Morph Conquest. Usually Morph Conquest costs about 5C a week into the league, but because more and more people play my build, it might be a bit more expensive. I would say it's going to be about an Exile in the first week. Now for a chest, you're going to be using Tabula, of course. If you want, you can buy a crafted 6-link, which is quite much cheaper, but gives more benefits. Now, I'll leave it as Tabula just for the sake of this video. Now for your gloves, you want to have Curse of Elemental Weakness in your gloves. Templar gloves are quite cheap on a league start. You shouldn't be spending more than 50C on those gloves, but they give you extreme benefits and they increase your damage by a lot. Now, if you can't afford those gloves, I suggest you buy any rare gloves that have resistances and life. For your boots, you just go for straight resistances, life, and movement speed. Now, you don't really need the movement speed, as you can tell, but it's just nice to have. For your amulet, all you need is an allocation of Whispers of Doom, which allows you to have the gloves. If you don't have those gloves, if you don't have the Elemental Weakness gloves, get a different anointment. I don't really know which anointment would be best, but I think if you're going for a low-end version, it really doesn't matter. You can keep your amulet unanointed, it really doesn't make a difference. So for your rings, use Macula Shaper and an Elder Ring. What this does is increases your damage by up to 100% and gives you a bunch of life and just gives you a bunch of really good stats. Now, for your belt, you can use a Stygian Vise. You can find cold damage on a Stygian Vise, but if you can't afford that, just buy resistances in life. Now, for your Abyssal Jewel is extremely important because it gives us fire damage, lightning damage, chaos damage, and cold damage. The reason why it's important is because you want to be able to chill, shock, and ignite your enemies for your Cinder Swallow Flask. If you can ignite your enemies from Cinder Swallow Flask, you can apply additional 10% damage taken by those monsters. And if you can apply lightning effects, you can also proc Sadist. Sadist is a class of jewel which increases your damage done by 25% for every ignited, chilled, and shocked enemy. If you have all of those things, you'll be doing a lot more damage. For your jewels, all you're looking for is a life and crit multiplier. Crit multiplier is the best stat for assassins, so find as much crit multiplier as you can. Don't forget to get more life, unless you want to die as much as I do. For your cluster jewels, as a low end, you don't really need cluster jewels, but some of them are really nice to have. What I personally enjoy using is called Conduction, which makes it so all enemies chilled by you also shocked. Shocked enemies take 15% more damage, so effectively you're increasing your damage done by 15% every single time you use Freezing Pulse. Apart from that, you don't really need any jewels. If you want to increase your Freezing Pulse damage, which you can do, in Freezing Pulse projectiles, you want to go for First Snow. First Snow increases the number of projectiles by 2 and increases your damage done by 25. You can have 2 of those jewels, which adds up to plus 4 projectiles and plus 50% more damage from Freezing Pulse. This is completely insane because it makes it so you don't have to invest too much into your build and still have insane benefits. Having plus 4 projectiles makes it so you don't have to go for JMP and makes your build a lot stronger and have a much better map clear. Now, if you have a tabula rasa and you have a bit more money to invest, I suggest you buy an Impulsa. Impulsa makes it so you have more damage every time you shock, and you're gonna shock every time you kill some enemies, and it makes it so you have an exploit chest on top of your benefits. Now, it does chain because of cold conduction, so having Impulsa as your body armor is gonna give you more map clear, it's gonna make all your mobs explode, adding up more damage to your maps. But again, it's just something nice to have. Now, if you're having problems stacking up your poison, I suggest you use Aziri's Promise. Aziri's Promise makes it so all your spells can apply poison. If you don't have this flask up, only your cycle will be applying poison, and you'll be taking a lot more damage. And you won't be doing as much damage as you should be. Now, if you're gonna be using a Poison Sextant, you have to go for the Noxious Strike. Noxious Strike increases your poison duration for each mob you hit, and makes it so you apply poisons on every hit. If you don't have Poison Sextant, that's fine, you can go for something else. I suggest you drop Elusive for the Poison Sextant, or if you want to have a bit less damage, I suggest you drop Opportunistic. Either of those things are fine, it's just a personal preference. I personally like to have a bit more damage and a bit more defensive, so I go for Opportunistic. Now, if you want to invest more money into your build, I suggest the first thing you want to buy is Impulsa. After Impulsa, you want to have good flasks, Wise Oak. You want to have crit multiplier, as much crit multiplier as possible. So I suggest you buy good jewels. Because of harvest crafting, you're gonna have a lot more gear available for you, so you can buy better and better things much cheaper than before. This especially is going to be good because Delirium will be getting buffs. Delirium will have specific nodes on your atlas for Delirium, and I feel like Delirium will become even stronger of a money maker than before. Personally, I was making 1 mirror a day on the first couple of weeks of the league, of Heist League, and I think I'll be doing the same this league as well. Might even be making more than that. It depends how things go. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll leave all of my PIPs in the description below, and make sure to check out my stream at Twitch TV at Personal Jesus. And I hope you guys have a good one, and I appreciate all of you.